repeating this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are too.
For the inspectors, must be structural sound must be kept painted, and he needs a painting here. Okay?
I believe it's 3 years ago.
All right. Number 2 is I'm looking for evidence of spalling anywhere. You see any major spalling? I mean really physical spalling anywhere. No? You're looking for structural, meaning on a white varsity, they're the best, because they'll brown up in no time. They'll brown up in 1 year.
So support behind the lower stairs. A little bit of brick in there.
All right, well, we'll get to that in a second. So, in the last thing, let's take a look at the ladder there, because if there's any luck in the ladder, they'll show. The white varsities are the best. So now, it must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. If you don't see either one, just keep moving. There's no violation there, but otherwise you can see it, especially on white fire stick. Then you'll see what it's like on a black fire stick.
So this one here, what we did on repairs on this one is the columns. The columns that are it would never have passed. This was actually in the prior. No, this was old Crichton.
Yeah, this is
Right. We ended up
It's called suspenders.
we ended up installing those columns for support.
Right. You're unified. You're creating a unification of all the connections. So that in order for it to fail, all have to fail.
Well,
and even from here.
Oh, those guardrails.
Yes.
Because they wouldn't pass it.
The 400 pound.
Yeah.
So now this is where
Actually at 200.
But the law says very clear, lawfully non-conforming says you have to meet the code of the date of install, not the today's standard.
Correct.
So right now we'll fight that out another time. Let's just go. The rest of the country doesn't do this.
I was
Let's go
just
before we
explaining to you
cross.
guys what we had done.
So from here, you can actually see those little bumps next to each one of the steps on the stringer. Those are rivet heads. You can tell that even from here with my crappy thing. So once you get closer, if you're seeing rounded heads on those things, they are rivets. That is 100% suspect on every one of these things in Portland, because that's our biggest problem with the stupid things. And it's a nightmare for the people who make them.
And so we go in and replace them with the 316 hex heads.
Look for other evidence of strength. Look for look for any maintenance activity, meaning hex head bolts have come in, no more square head bolts. All right.
Thank you.
So right here, the tube here is rotting from the inside out already.
Oh, it's a drip vertical connection.
That's an obstruction.
On which one?
On this first vertical.
Oh yeah, right there.
This has been kind of been 4 years ago.
On this outside edge.
Correct. Don't forget, they're always separate. They're not tied together. They can be tied.
No. On this vertical right here.
Okay. Oh, I see the crack. Yeah. Well, this crack.
Let's drop right there.
Yeah, that would be the
So even though this was certified, even though the fire escape is certified 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, can the fire marshal or can an inspector ask for a recertification at any time during any inspection? Well, the answer is yes. So just because it passed doesn't mean it can't be asked 1 year later to be reload tested again. Okay? So let's just continue. So we're finding out that rust is getting inside. It already broke this weld. It looks like they're using plumbing pipe instead of standard steel on here. But any rust jacking in the weight box? Anybody see a little bit of rust jacking inside these weight pieces here?
Just the rust of the moss.
Yeah. So guys, you see this? You see how it goes into the building? You want to make sure you seal that, even though it's at the veneer. As soon as you finish any of your caulking, seal it with caulking that is both from metal and masonry. Caulk it, seal it. That helps your engineers when they see it again. They say there's been attention made to it. Fire escape looks so good. Anybody finding any horrible problems here? All right. So let me give you an alternative. Ready? Guys, the worst thing ever to take out is a rivet. Right?
Well,
They're hardened. You know how they go in? Red hot. You know how they got to stay in? They pounded it. You know what it did? It squished into every nook and cranny. You know how it goes out? It doesn't. You know when you drill it, you know what happens? Your drills get eaten because you can't get through. But let me see if I have another evidence of strength option here. Stu, I want to do this whole entire staircase down here, which has rivets, which is an indicator that it's 75 years or older. Square heads are 50 to 75. Rivets was the original way it was made many years ago. So I've identified there's no rust in any of the connections from the top. And if there was, I ran a grinder across the top, cleaned out all that surface rust that's trying to get in like this, but it hasn't penetrated all the way through. Good rivets, right? And I cleaned the top and I silicone shut so no water's getting back in there. And Stu, I'm gonna keep my rivets and I'm gonna put a bolt down the middle of it, and I'm gonna put in a 1/2 inch bolt, not 1 3/8. I'm not gonna take those out. I'm gonna reinforce it with a 1/2 inch bolt. And I'm gonna call for other evidence of strength, and my structural engineer is gonna sign off on that. Not that I replace the bolts, I reinforce the bolts with equal or greater value.
Yep. And
Can I use other evidence of strength with you?
As long as the engineering proves out, that would be acceptable.
Got it?
And that's the catch.
So now that's the whole thing. You just have to provide an alternative to meet the codes. Load testing or other evidence of strength is gonna save a lot of time when you guys just drill these babies out, and as long as there's no rust in any internal connection.
good luck. No rust.
Well, believe it or not, you guys ain't that bad. There's other cities that are worse, but yes, these things, and when to get these out, that's the problem. And by the way, how you cut them, you can't use a torch, right? Lead paint. So if you use the torch, $37,000 fine. And even with a grinder, but you know they're not picking you on a cutting grinder. Otherwise, what you have to do here is you have to cut the head or chisel them out, and then you got to pin them out, and you'll be. It's like iron woodpeckers, we call them.
That's what we do.
You know what I'm saying? And they're a pain. They're a royal pain, but they can be done. But there's a lot of taking apart. Anything else on this fire escape? You see all that cement entries? See that one right there?
Yep.
That has to be sealed. Because what happens is that's not the structure, that's on the veneer. But water getting in there to the main structure is going to cause a concern. If I wanted to, and they mentioned that the railing systems here did not meet the lateral load. So notice these tubes, which I thought were acting as a support, meaning sometimes I'll have these tubes on the support to support, so we suspend. We basically unify. This is not even on the support.
This rod over here is actually doing that. These 3 rods.
Right. It's suspension so that the trucks don't hit you underneath or whatever it may be. But what that is the railing is not meeting the lateral load today. Well, you're not supposed to be doing it till today. The code says it's lawfully non-conforming as of 1904. You can't force today's load test on a properly installed fire escape, but that's another legal battle in the future. But you can, if that is a concern, you can do exactly what they've done. It's not that the railing failed. The new requirement of 200 pounds meant that you'd have to modify the existing rail, because they didn't change the height on it, as you can see. They just changed it so that it needed, on average, there's a post every 5 feet on every rail ever built on any fire escape. And that's all this is. This is a 1905 way of doing things, you know what I'm saying? And it was fine.
So if you were up on this yourself and you got up there, you grabbed that rail, if that thing did this on it, you'd still just go to the original code, not one.
It won't do that.
Oh, it did do that.
Well, that's a different thing. Did it break down? Did it break down?
No, but it went way out.
Well,
For some reason, nobody wanted to push it far enough to see if it would break.
I did.
we're talking about, guys, see that rail system over there? Lawfully non-conforming. So there's some issues that you'd have to work with your engineer to say, even though that's lawfully non-conforming, I may have to add some reinforcement so that it achieves. But it's not bringing it up to code. You're adding reinforcement because you're going to bring it up to the 200-pound lateral load. If it's a 400-pound, it's the same activity, only double the thing. It's not a 2x2 I got to put here. I got to put a 3x3 over here because it went to 4. So Portlandia code is, I'm just talking about overall the whole country, okay? So this fire escape, the last thing we want to talk about is the ladder on the fireman ladder. Let's take a look at that to see whether or not a fireman is going to get killed on this thing. and the key happens where they overlap. Is that original hardware or new hardware? Okay. So if I was to change, so listen to this now with the fire marshal here. If I changed every bolt, every structural bolt I changed on this ladder to new bolt, and then I sealed it all the way up and including into the roof, do I have to load test this ladder? Can I give you other evidence of strength with an engineer's stamp on it saying that this ladder has been refurbished in its entirety? Yes. Every connection is a brand new or backed up connection.
Yep. And the reason I hesitated and stepped over here and took a look was I wanted to make sure how those rungs were mounted.
Well, good point.
Most of our rungs on these fireman's ladders are actually a step down, single rod, step down size coming through and peened or welded on the outside. And these are. So these were peened over.
And there's no step down. That's an actual, but all ladders in the US are punched through. Any ladder that has welded on the inside is a replacement that's been done wrong. But the backup system to every ladder on a fire escape, all of them are punched through. 99% of all of them are punched through for that reason. In case the weld fails on the outside, it's a punch through. So
basically, big concern is what's it going to do under load when we're using it? Because that's what we go up.
Yeah, so. we do what we call big load on it. So we would actually pull down on the fire escape, and to help, because this whole fire escape here could do an 8,000-pound load. So we would move the splice and then have the load. So you're just testing the system. You're only testing 5%. Load that, and then every once in a while I have to put that, so that way we can load the connections, each platform load connections.
No, you could have
nobody separates fire escapes.
You could have went through.
Load testing fire escapes is as a complete system. You can't touch the bolts, okay? And the load test is individual, meaning 40% load test. So I wouldn't load test this whole platform. I would load test pieces of it and keep moving it around.
That's what we do. We disconnect.
There's no disconnection. I know you're doing it here.
Yeah. We would say that you have
taking a class.
5 of these brackets
Platforms.
supporting. You test,
Yeah.
well, it's 6 more. So you test 25%. 20%, I think. And then, so you just tested one of them, so you disconnect that one, the rest of the platform is tested.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Not done
You were
anymore.
fine.
Nobody.
Well, I know that. This is something that was made up here.
Oh, Portlandia. Portland. If you don't know, just make something up. Got it. Nobody in the rest of the sane world is doing that. But it's okay, that you, and that's what you fill in documents. But nobody does that. I've never done that.
The reason why we don't do the full, we used to do the full load when it was 100 pounds. When it went to 200 pounds, it took us out of range.
Right.
So, and also, you know, we get a little worried about if we test the whole platform at the 200-pound load, that we can actually fail the whole thing. So the idea is just to take representative samples, worst case, and then load those.
If I may, let's use an example. You got your fire hoses that are rated to what, 1,000 pounds of pressure or 500 pounds?
From manufactured 600 psi.
600 psi. Somebody in the building department says we want to test all fire hoses from now on to 1,200, and then I want you to continue using these fire hoses after the fact. What would you say?
Really?
Well, that's
That's the response. Really?
I've been through that route with
So
the
just so you
building
know,
department.
guys, nationwide, this 200 rule doesn't apply anywhere in the world. Can we fix it over time? The answer is yes.
Well,
can we get the feedback from people with credentials and feedback to the fire department in a sit down? It can be fixed, guys. Just because it went in wrong doesn't mean we can't pull it back
you know
out.
what their justification is actually in the building code. If you test an existing structure, you test it 2 times the unfactored load. 100 pounds is the unfactored load. So that's why they went to 200.
They went and found the technicality,
Thank you.
but it is so out of range and out of
Remember,
whack.
this is the building department, so that's what they're going on.
Right, but here's the problem. When I build a brand new one, they make me put it in at 100 pounds. So how can you load it to 200 pounds when you make me
Well,
manufacture it to 100
Well,
pounds?
that's the unfactored. You know, when they decide to add factors to it.
The Portlandia
Overdesign.
factor. But guys,
No, it's
I'm not here to
standard.
fix it. I'm just here to tell you that there's a problem. So let's go back in and with your voice and your voice and your voice and your voice, when it just doesn't make any
I've already
sense.
been through this because I've already told them, how can you put 30 firemen on a platform that size just to match the load?
Well, I did that. I did that. Remember I said,
But it doesn't. They don't buy it.
Right, but
So
remember I did it right at the beginning of the video. I said, listen, 3x5 needs 10 tenants in there to meet the requirement, and you can't fit 10 tenants on a 3x5.
I get
You
it.
need 5 fully strapped oxygen tank firemen, and they won't fit.
Causing problems.
I mean, unless he's stacked, then they can be on their shoulders. Now.
Shoulder thing, so it's overbuilt, overrated. Now to go to 200 pounds means that you'd have to have 10 firemen fully stacked and 20 people on that 3x5. It's physically impossible. So guys, I can't fix that today. This is Portlandia. You guys
Not
are
gonna fix it.
you guys are joining
We
Japan
have
or
the
something.
safest
I
fire
don't know.
escapes around, right?
You have the safest fire escapes around that nobody's
We
ever
are,
gonna use.
they're doing well. I think we fix them well. And how many do we
And
really
actually, a lot of them
fail?
pass. You
Yeah.
know, like these conventional ones are really sturdy.
So, let's go to the next one, guys.
In reality, if we've had a little fail, we've always been able to